ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुराः सुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। In the last session, we had a very elaborate discussion on the third Shatkam, and I gave you a very comparative study of what was talked about in the first 6 chapters called as the first Shatkam, the second 6 chapters called as the second Shatkam, and what is to come now in the third Shatkam of the last 6 chapters. And we saw that the last 6 chapters are talking predominantly about the Aikya Vichara, that is the Jiva Brahma Aikya Vichara, and Jnana Yoga, along with the acquisition of all the values or the Sadgunas, is considered to be the sadhana, and whatever is the prakriya used here is Mahavakya Vichara Prakriya. And also, I said that the ultimate result of this last Shatkam, that is what Bhagwan wants us all to know through this last Shatkam, which is actually an Upasamhara or the concluding Shatkam of this entire Bhagavad Gita, is that Bhagavad Gita is nothing but a Moksha Shastra. And the ultimate Purushartha of Moksha is the ultimate goal of every living human being. And that is what one has to really strive for. And this is the way, and this entire whole path has been laid out by Lord Krishna to us, starting from the sadhana of Karma Yoga to Upasana Yoga to Jnana Yoga, and all the other Sahakari sadhanas have also been talked about. Now, the 13th chapter, I said, basically talks about the Aikya Vichara, Mahavakya Vichara is introduced now in the 13th chapter. And along with that, Bhagwan also is going to talk about what are those values, what are those gunas, which when acquired make a mind mature enough to really understand and assimilate this knowledge of Mahavakya Vichara or the Aikya Vichara. This is one of the subtlest aspects of Jnana Yoga and the teaching of the scriptures. And therefore, this is taken in the last Shatkam because this Mahavakya Vichara of understanding this great equation between the essential oneness between two superficially differently looking things. Jiva is superficially very, very different from Ishvara, whereas essentially what Vedanta says is the essential swarupam of both the Jiva and Ishvara is one and the same. And this knowledge of Jiva Brahma or Jiva Ishvara Aikyam is what is called as Jnanam, and this Jnanam is nothing but moksha. And what is the meaning of moksha? Freedom here and now while living, freedom from fear, confusion, and sorrow. Raga, Bhaya, Shoka, Moha, Nivritti, with which we started the Bhagavad Gita with Arjuna's Vishada, which included all the three. And now, coming to the 13th chapter, as I said, the very first verse of the 13th chapter is not really considered as the first verse at all in many books because it is in the original, and in the sense for many, many years, we found that no Bhagavad Gita book carried this first verse. This is a question by Arjuna where Arjuna is asking certain paribhasha explanations, Shastra paribhasha, or certain jargons or certain definitions of certain words that he has heard. He wants to know the meaning of them. And we can take it because this question of Arjuna is not at all irrelevant. This question of Arjuna is what really Bhagwan takes up in an order to talk about Jiva, Ishvara, Aikya, or Abheda in the very first starting chapter of this Shatkam, that is the 13th chapter. So there may not be a number given to this particular, shloka, which is supposed to be the question asked by Arjuna, where he is asking Bhagwan that I am going to present to you three sets of words, three sets of Shastra Paribhasha, certain terms used in the Shastra. And please explain to me what these three pairs of words mean. And what did Arjuna say? Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnameva Cha Ye Tadveditumicchami Jnanam Jneyam Keshava. So, three sets of two words each are presented by Arjuna. He says, Hey Bhagwan, hey Keshava, I want to know the meaning of Prakriti and Purusha. One pair, Prakriti and Purusha. I also want to know what is the meaning of Kshetram and Kshetrajna, the second pair. Also, what is Jnanam and Jneyam. So, these three pairs are presented in the form of a question. Now, Prakriti and Purusha have already been explained by Bhagwan in the seventh chapter. In the seventh chapter, he very clearly said that Dve Prakriti, he said, Dve Prakriti are the yoni or the cause of this entire universe. And he said that my Prakriti or my Shakti or my Maya can be divided into what is called as the Apara Prakriti, which is the very material cause of this entire universe, and Para Prakriti, which is the very maker or the intelligent cause of this entire universe. Therefore, Prakriti or Maya or the potential or the basic matter principle is Apara Prakriti, and the consciousness principle, that which is pervading entirely everywhere in and through this material universe, is called as the Para Prakriti, which he has already mentioned in the 7th chapter and the 9th chapter. But then still, Arjuna wants to know the more details about this Purusha and Prakriti. And then Kshetram and Kshetrajna. These are the two new words. Kshetram and Kshetrajna are the two new words which Bhagwan is going to take a long time, or he's going to take a great effort in explaining these two words of Kshetram and Kshetrajna. Actually speaking, Kshetram also is very much or equivalent to Prakriti. Kshetrajna means the same as Purusha. So Kshetram and Prakriti are the matter principles. Purusha and Kshetrajna are the consciousness principle. And everything in this universe, including my own body, mind, sense complex, is nothing but a mixture of Prakriti and Purusha. The body, mind, sense complex, along with the Ahankara, up till, the very, we have these five koshas which, Upanishad talks about, starting from the Annamaya Kosha up till the Anandamaya Kosha. That is the Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram, also the Ahankara. All this is matter principle. The body is gross matter, whereas the Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira are very, very subtle matter. But ultimately, all of them are matter principle. And that consciousness alone, which is there backing this entire Prakriti or Anatma or the body mind sense complex, we called it as Atma, Sakshi Chaitanya, Pratyagatma, Purusha. Okay, Purishete iti Purushaha, it was said. And then now he's going to talk about the same consciousness as Kshetrajna. This is a set of two new words that have been explained by Lord Krishna. Then he says the next, Arjuna asks for the next set of words, that is Jnanam and Neyam. Jnanam and Neyam. Neyam means what? What is to be known? What is it that is the object of my knowledge? What is it that I'm supposed to know about? Therefore, here, Nyayam also is the same as Kshetrajna and also Purusha. So, in these three sets of words, Purusha, Prakriti, okay, Kshetrajna, Kshetra, Nyayam, Jnanam. In these three sets of two words, the first three, that is Purusha, Kshetrajna, and Nyayam, are one and the same. They are nothing but Atma or Brahman. Whereas if you take the other side, the Prakriti and also the Kshetram are one and the same. Whereas the Jnanam that is being talked about here, Jnanam has a different meaning. What is the meaning of Jnanam in this set of six words, in the six words? Jnanam, we all know, means knowledge. But then, Jnanam can be used in another connotation also. Because Bhagwan Shankara, in his Bhashya on this chapter, gives many meanings for Jnanam. Even in his Bhashya on Taittiriya Upanishad on Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, what is Jnanam? In what all ways Jnanam can be interpreted? He gives in a wonderful Bhashyam there also. So, looking at that, taking a cue from that, we can say that though Jnanam in the ordinary terms means knowledge, Jnanam also means instrument of knowledge. What is that instrument of knowledge? What are the instruments of knowledge by which I am able to know this Neya Vastu? What is Neyam? That which is to be known. What is Jnanam? The instrument by which I successfully know this Neya Vastu. What is Kshetrajnam? That consciousness or Atma or Sakshi Chaitanya Atma, Purusha, which was talked about in all these chapters from the second chapter. That is a consciousness principle. And the Kshetram, Prakriti, or Prakriti and Kshetram, these two are indicative of the matter principle, which is Jada. And so, Bhagwan here wants to answer this question of Arjuna by taking the first pair to be explained as Kshetram and Kshetrajnaha. He does not want to take Purusha and Prakriti right now because it has already been dealt with and he's going to talk about it later. Right now, Bhagavan wants to talk about what is Kshetram and what is Kshetrajna. What is the matter principle called Kshetram? What is this consciousness principle called as Kshetrajna? And what are they? He's going to talk about it. And the second verse here in all the books, it is the first verse because Arjuna's question is not numbered as a verse. So, from this verse, Bhagavanuvacha onwards, we are going to take the numbering of the verses as verse number 1. So, if in your book you have the first verse numbered, Arjuna's question as number 1, please be careful as to which verse I am dealing with. Now, here we are going to deal with the first verse of the 13th chapter, which is the answer to the question asked by Arjuna, the unnumbered verse in the 13th chapter, because it was added later. It was not an original part of Bhagavad Gita. But nevertheless, a very, very useful question because it is only on that basis, based on that, in that order, Bhagavan has decided to answer Arjuna's question. Now, in the first verse, he says, Shri Bhagavanuvacha idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityabhidhiyate yetadyo vettitam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. So he says, Hey Kaunteya, hey Arjuna, understand that this shariram, idam shariram, he's, clearly pointing out a human body saying idam, this shariram, hey Kaunteya, this shariram, this body, this anatma body, which includes the sthula shariram, sukshma shariram, and karana shariram, this three united body, this body is called as shariram, is called as kshetram. Kshetram iti abhidhiyate. This body is called as Kshetram. Now, what is the meaning of Kshetram? Because now let us take only the Sthula Shariram here. Only this body, that's a gross body here. Though Idam Shariram includes the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira. Also, now we will just for our understanding take this Shariram. This body, Hekamteya, is called as Kshetram. What is the meaning of kshetram? Kshetram means that which is constantly kshiyamanam, that which is constantly degenerating and going away. So, this constantly changing, constantly vikari, constantly degenerating, whatever you have here, this is called as the shariram, which is nothing but kshetram. What did we call it earlier in the first chapter? We called it deha, we called it anatma, we called it apara prakriti in the seventh chapter, correct? So, this body, which is of the nature which of constantly perishing and disappearing, this matter principle, this body which is made up of the matter principle which constantly changes and degenerates and one day disappears, this is called as the kshetram. Another meaning of kshetram is given by Bhagwan Shankaracharya in his Bhashya. A kshetra means a field. Kshetra means what? Field. Like an agricultural field, what happens in a field? A seed is sown, which is karma. And ultimately, what comes out of that karma? The karma phala comes out in the form of the plant and the tree and whatever it has to give. Therefore, here Shankaracharya says that this body is also a kshetram in the sense of a field of experience. This body is what? It is a field of experience. If you remember Tattva Bodha, how is this Sthula Shariram described? The Sthula Shariram in Tattva Bodha is described as Bhoga Ayatanam. It is the locus or the focus or the area in which all the bhoga takes place, all the karma takes place. So this body is what? It is a karma kshetra. Okay, it is a field where karma is done. It is the ayatanam or locus of where all the activities are done, whether they are the laukika activities or whether they are the spiritual activities, whatever it is, Vaidika activities. This body is the field where all the karmas are done. And this body is the field where all the karma phalas are experienced. Therefore, this body is called as kshetram, as a field, as an ayatanam of karma, as a karma kshetra, as also an ayatanam of bhoga ayatanam, karma ayatanam. Then what about the Sukshma Sharira? Is it only the Sukshma Stula Sharira which is the Kshetram? No, the Sukshma Sharira is also the Kshetram. The Karana Shariram is also the Kshetram. The only problem is the Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira are not available for perception. Whereas the Sukshma Shariram is called as what in Tattva Bodha? Bhoga Karanam it is called as. Bhoga Ayatanam is the body. Bhoga Karanam is the mind. It is through the instrument of the mind that the body does all its actions. Whatever experience is got by the body, it is the instrument called as the mind which goes through the experiences of sukha and dukkha. So, together, the body mind sense complex are what? Bhoga ayatanam and bhoga karanani. Therefore, being a field of karma, being a field of experience, therefore, kshetram idam shariram iti abhidhiyate. Idam shariram, sthula shariram, sukshma shariram. Let us take only the two now. They are the kshetra because of it being a field of action. Also, the body is constantly degenerating. Kshayamanatvat, Kshiyamanatvat. That is why it is called as the Sharira, that which constantly degenerates. Now, only is this body the Kshetram? Bhagwan says no. You have to extend this to the entire Jagat, the entire jagat of names and forms, the entire sthula prapancha, including this body, mind, sense complex, the entire sthula sukshma prapancha, including this sthula sharira, sukshma sharira, is the kshetram. So, where does the kshetram start from? It starts from the prakriti, that is from the potential matter up till the subtlest of this body, the Karana Shariram. This whole thing is called as Kshetram. And who's a Kshetrajna? Yetadyo Veti. Yetat Kshetram Yaha Veti. The one who knows, the one who understands, the one who experiences, the one who sees this Kshetra is called as a Kshetrajna. The awarer of this kshetra, the knower of this kshetra is called as the kshetrajnaha. What is the meaning of jnaha? Knower. Kshetrajnaha means what? The knower of kshetra. So what is this knower of kshetra? It is nothing but this consciousness, Atma. Therefore, the entire Jagat is a combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. What is the Kshetra? The entire Nama Rupa Jagat that we see, starting from the most distant and biggest, whatever is there in the universe, seen, unseen, known, unknown, whatever is there in this entire universe, starting from there up till my own Karana Shariram, this whole spectrum is called as Kshetram. And then the one who knows this, the knower consciousness, the awareing consciousness of this Kshetram is called as Kshetrajna. Therefore, there are only two things. There is matter principle and the consciousness principle. And what does Vedanta say? How does it, continue? He says the matter principle is nothing but a manifestation of consciousness. The matter principle is nothing but name and form. Whatever is the stuff that the whole universe is made of is nothing but this consciousness. Therefore, all the names and forms which we call as kshetra, which are constantly changing and disintegrating and disappearing, this kshetra is mithya. This is only an experiential reality. It is only a transactional reality. It is vyavaharika satyam. That which is the knower consciousness of this entire kshetra is the only paramarthika satyam or absolute reality. It may look that there are multiple things, but there is only one reality, absolute reality called as paramarthika satyam. Aham kshetrajnaha atma sakshi chaitanya atma, the one who's the awareing consciousness of this entire material universe is the only Satyam, the only reality called as the Paramarthika Satyam. The entire Jagat with millions and millions of names and forms is a mere experiential reality called as Vyavaharika Satyam. So the first verse, what is told here is describing what is the difference between the matter and the consciousness. Matter principle is what? It appears, it disappears, it undergoes changes. Therefore, matter principle is what? Anityam. It is vikari. Correct? It comes and goes, though it is agama pai. It is anekam, manifests in many forms. What is it in reality? It is there today, it is not there tomorrow. Therefore, it is mithya. Whereas, what is this kshetrajna? It is one and the only consciousness, the Paramarthika Satyam. Therefore, what is this Kshetrajna? Kshetrajna is Nityam. It does not come, it does not go. It is Nirvikari. It does not change itself, it remains the same in all three periods of time. Neither born nor dead, na jayate, na mriyate kadachit. Nirvikari, no vikara. It is one and the same, one and only, ekam advitiyam. Whereas this one is what? World or no, prakriti or kshetram. It is many. And lastly, what? This kshetrajna is satyam and the jagat is mithya. Kshetrajna is one and only. Kshetram is anekam. Kshetrajna is nirvikari, nirguna, whereas the kshetram is full of gunas and full of, vikaras. Kshetrajna is the consciousness principle. Kshetra is the matter principle. Kshetrajna is the para prakriti. Matter is the apara prakriti. Ultimately, Kshetrajnam is the Paramarthika Satyam, the only Satyam. Kshetram is a temporary experiential Vyavaharika Satyam. So, those who know this distinction between the matter and the spirit, between the matter and the consciousness, those who know the difference between the Kshetram and the Kshetrajna, these are these are the people who are wise people, and this is what they describe the kshetra and kshetrajna as. Yetadyo veti tam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. The knowers of what is paraprakriti, what is aparaprakriti, they describe the kshetra as this and the kshetrajna as the single knower of the entire changing prakriti. Then, what is this kshetrajna then? Who is this Kshetrajna? If the Kshetram is multiple, if the Kshetram is many, if the Kshetram is Vikari, what about the knower of this Kshetra? Is this knower of the Kshetra also many? Multiple? Vikari? No. The second verse in this chapter is the Mahavakya. As I told you, there are multiple Mahavakyas, thousands of Mahavakyas in the Upanishads. But just four of the Mahavakyas are given as sample Mahavakyas which are commonly cited to explain the Jiva Brahma Abheda. So I told you last time the most important teaching Mahavakya for the teaching purposes is from Chandogya Upanishad called as Tat Tvam Asi. In Brahadaranyaka Upanishad, the same teaching which is given by the Guru as you are that Tattvam Asi is accepted and internalized by the Shishya, and the expression is Aham Brahmasmi. Yes, I understand this teaching that Aham Brahmasmi. And there is, one in the Mandukya Upanishad, Ayam Atma Brahma. This Jivatma is nothing but Paramatma Brahma. Another name for Kshetrajna is Paramatma, Brahma, Aksharam. All these are the various Paryaya Padas for Atma or for Kshetrajna. And then in Aitareya Upanishad, a Rigveda Upanishad, the same thing is given as Prajnanam Brahma. The knowing consciousness, the knower consciousness here, Prajnanam, is nothing but that Brahma or that Brahman. But here, the second verse where Bhagwan is explaining what this Kshetrajna is nothing but a Mahavakya. Now let us see how this Mahavakya is brought about by Lord Krishna. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yattadjnanam matam mama. So what Krishna says here is, look Arjuna, I told you that the knower of the kshetram is called as kshetrajna. So this, my body is one kshetra, your body is one kshetra. 84 lakhs jivas are there with 84 lakhs of bodies. And does it mean that in every body there is a kshetrajna, the knower? There are so many other things in the jagat, so many names and forms. Is that knower of those names and forms are also many? No, he says that kshetrajna, that consciousness, which is the knower consciousness in every being is one consciousness. It is the same consciousness in all the beings. And what is that kshetrajna? It is nothing but me, the Paraprakriti. I, the Paramatma. I, the Paraprakriti, is the one and only Kshetrajna in all the beings. This is a Mahavakya. Why Mahavakya? This Paramatma, is this Pratyagatma which is in every human being as the knowing consciousness, knower consciousness, not only human being, in all the jivas, the knower consciousness is what is called as Kshetrajna. This is the first Mahavakya of here in the 13th chapter. Lots of Mahavakyas have happened earlier also in earlier chapters. So, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Hey Bharata, understand me, the Paraprakriti, Paramatma, as the Kshetrajna, as the Atma, in every kshetra. In every kshetra. So there is no multiplicity of kshetrajna. Remember that. There is one kshetrajna. The multiplicity and plurality is only in the kshetram, not in the kshetrajna. Why Bhagwan is saying it like this very, very clearly? And Bhagwan Shankaracharya writes a wonderful bhashyam running to pages on this one verse, which is one of the best bhashyas of Acharya Shankara, which is a very proud bhashyam, where he describes why and how Bhagavan is talking about one kshetrajnam, one knower consciousness in all the kshetras, because there are certain or some philosophies called as Sankhya philosophy. There is a philosophy called Sankhya philosophy where their teaching is that there are as many consciousnesses as there are the kshetras. If there are 84 lakhs kshetras or body, mind, sense complexes, there are 84 lakhs kshetrajnas. That is their teaching. And what do they say? That multiple kshetrajnas are there and all of them are all pervasive. How can it be? How can you have 84 lakhs, consciousnesses, different consciousnesses, and all of them are all pervasive? No, it is not so. So make it very clear. Krishna also says here very clearly, Kshetrajnam cha api mam vidhi. That Kshetrajnam may you know as me, my Paraprakriti, Paramatma, where Sarva Kshetreshu, in all the Kshetras, there is one consciousness, and I am that consciousness. My Paraprakriti, Paramatma is that consciousness. I, the Paramatma, is the same Jivatma in every Jiva. Whatever may be the number of the Jivas that are there, I am the one and the only consciousness in Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. Kshetra Kshetrajnayor Jnanam, this knowledge which distinguishes and sees what is kshetra and what is kshetrajnam, this knowledge of the multiplicity of kshetras and one indivisible, all pervading consciousness as the kshetrajna in all the kshetras, this jnanam is that jnanam which is a liberating knowledge. Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam, the knowledge of this kshetra and kshetrajna, yat tad jnanam matam mama. That is the real knowledge. Understanding that in thousands of kshetras, what is available as the consciousness principle in innumerable material consciousness, there is one consciousness principle. That is what? I, the Paramatma, and Kshetrajna. So the knower of the Kshetra, the Kshetrajna in every being is nothing but me, the Paramatma. So what is this then? Jiva, Brahma, Abheda itself. No, it is the sameness. There is no difference between me and you, the Atma. So Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. I am that consciousness in every being. So what is the initial teaching of Vedanta? In the first 6 chapters, what was the teaching? Krishna said, you are the Deha. Actually, what is within this Deha is the Dehi. You are a combination of the Deha and Dehi, but the real you is the Dehi Atma. The Deha Atma is not the real you. It is only an experiential reality which comes and goes. That is the first level of teaching. Then the second level of teaching comes where this Atma or Kshetrajna in this body is not different from the Atma or Kshetrajna of the other bodies. It is the same consciousness here which is backing this Upadhi. It is the same consciousness which backs all other Upadhis. Chara Charam Jagat Idam Sarvam. It is backed up, it is backed by the same reality, same consciousness, same Kshetrajna. Second level of understanding Vedanta. Finally, the ultimate understanding is what? It is in this consciousness or kshetrajna all the kshetras are existing, they are born and ultimately they disappear. What is there is only this kshetrajna Atma, and all the kshetra, all these multiple myriads of form, they appear, exist, and resolve back into this consciousness called as kshetrajna. And therefore, where is this consciousness? It is within, it is outside, antascha, bahischa. Okay, it is, Brahma urdhvam, adaha, okay, paschat, purastat, everywhere, every direction, wherever I see, inside me, inside all objects, everywhere, what is there is this consciousness, kshetrajnaha. This knowledge, this understanding is the knowledge which ultimately frees the person from samsara. And this knowledge is called as moksha. Now he comes to explaining what is kshetram. Because the question of Arjuna was what? He wanted to know what kshetram was. So in the next verse, in the third verse means according to the book where the first verse, Arjuna's question is not numbered. Okay, remember the first verse is Idam Shariram Kaunteya. So we are taking the reference of the first verse as Idam Shariram Kaunteya. So now we'll go to the third verse. What does he say here? Tat kshetram yaccha yadrikcha yadvikari yatascha yat sachayo yat prabhavascha tat samasena me shrunu. Okay, Navarjuna, you asked me this question. What is Kshetra? What is Kshetrajna? And very briefly, I defined to you in the first two verses what is Kshetra and what is Kshetrajna. And in the form of a Mahavakya itself, I gave you a taste of the teaching that is to come in the next 6 chapters. And now, as promised, I will describe to you what this kshetram is. I told you that this kshetram is nothing but the matter principle. I told you that idam shariram kamteya kshetram iti abhidiyate. Is this body alone the kshetram? No. The whole universe of names and forms that you see, that with which you are surrounded, including your body, mind, sense complex, comes under kshetra. Then why do we not see our body, mind, sense complex as kshetra? We are very clearly able to see the whole universe as not myself. It is different from me. But then when it comes to my own body, mind, sense complex, I am not able to see this body, mind, sense complex as not me. I consider this as me, isn't it? Why this confusion? Because this matter principle called as the body mind sense organ has become my instrument for a long time. Correct? Huh? When you use a particular instrument for a long time, lives and lives together, the instrument becomes a part and parcel of the user. Correct? Huh? So supposing, I say, I am writing, I'm writing, correct? Now the hand is writing, the pen is held by the hand, and actually, what is writing is the pen. The pen is the instrument which really writes. But over years, I have been using this pen as an instrument, and I forget that the pen is an instrument. It becomes a part of me. And when I say I'm writing, actually, it is the pen which is writing. The instrument becomes so close to me that I don't see any difference between the instrument and the user of the instrument, me. Similarly, this is what has happened to us. Why don't we see our own body, mind, sense complex as kshetra? We see all the others as kshetra. We are very intelligent and we are all realized beings in that. Mukta Purushas. When it comes to our own body, mind, and sense complex, why are we not able to see it as kshetra? I say I'm ill, I'm fat, I'm not good looking. I'm sad. I'm not able to think. I am ignorant. What are all these belonging to? They belong to the instrument, the kshetram, the material, the matter principle called as the body, mind, sense, or complex. But after lives of being so close to it, because the proximity of this instrument called as the body, mind, sense complex, I have lost the discrimination of seeing this body, mind, sense complex as a part of the world which is kshetram. I take this body, mind, sense complex also as I, me. My body is sentient because of whom? Because of me, this Atma. This Atma or Kshetrajna is giving life and sentience to this instrument. By itself, this instrument called body, mind, sense complex is jada. It is not able to do anything. But it becomes I, not even a part of I. The body becomes I, become the body, I become the mind, I become the sense complexes. And I don't even know I am that consciousness which is the real me. I'm all the time thinking that I'm the body, I'm the mind, I'm the intellect, I'm the sense complexes. Using this instrument, Kshetram, matter principle, over a period of time, so intimately, I have become used to taking this instrument also as myself. But what Krishna says here is this body, mind, sense complex also is nothing but Kshetra, which is a part of the entire universe outside. So, who are you? That consciousness alone is you. This body mind sense complex is incidentally associated closely with you as an instrument. Learn to see this body mind sense complex as a useful instrument, but it is kshetram, it is not real me. Swami Paramarthanand always gives an example in this. We are so used to wearing the specs, correct? We remove the specs and keep it. We wear it whenever we want. We have ourselves gone and bought the spectacles. We know very well that this spectacle is only an instrument. But supposing I'm asked to say, tell me what all you see in front of you. Except the spectacle, I will reveal everything else. I will say, I see the wall, I see the windows, I see the light, I see the PC screen, I see the book, I see everything. What about my spectacles here? Spectacles are the first thing I'm seeing because they are the nearest to me, but I'll not count it because my spectacles have become an integral part of me and I don't consider it as an object, even though I remove it and keep it. I wear it when I want. I know it is an instrument, but still, when I'm using that instrument, it becomes me. When I write with a pen, that pen becomes me. Similarly, this body mind sense complex is an instrument which I have used so intimately all the time for lives and lives and lives together. I can't even believe that I'm not the body mind sense complex initially. I can't believe it. When Shastra says you are not the body, I don't believe it. How can it be? I am the body. See, it is so active, it is sentient, it is full of life. How can you say I am not the body? How can you say I am not the sense complex? For this, the Shastra uses many, many, many prakriyas. It uses the drishya prakriya and tells us, look, whatever is seen is not you. You are the seer. You see the world is seen. You, the consciousness, is the seer, so you are not the world. This body you see, you experience with all your senses. Who knows this body? The body is an object of knowledge. Who is the knower? You, the Atma, is the knower. Therefore, drishyatvat, this body is not you. You are the Driksvarupa. You are prana, your breath. You are aware of your prana. You know your prana. You may not see it, but you are aware of it. Driksvarupat prana also. You are not the prana. The mind, you are aware of everything that is happening in the mind. All your emotions you are aware of. All the thoughts that are arising, you know about them. Therefore, the activity of the mind is an object of your perception. The ignorance and the knowledge in your buddhi in the form of I know this, I do not know this, is an object of your perception. There is a knower which says I don't know, this buddhi doesn't know. There is a knower which says I'm breathing. There is a knower which says I'm thinking, I'm depressed, I'm sorrowful, I'm this and that and everything. Therefore, the stula shariram, the indriyas also, I can't see, I'm blind, I'm deaf, I'm a kana, I'm squint. Who knows this? Who knows this? My indriyas are not worried. I could hear clearly till last 1 year. From last 1 year, I can't hear. Who is saying that? Who's the knower that knew once that the ears were hearing? Then am I the ear? Am I the eyes? No. Who am I? I am the knower of my sense organs. Therefore, the I cannot be the sense organs. I am the knower of my mind, so I cannot be the knower of my mind. I am the knower of my intellect and its changes and its attributes. I cannot be the intellect. I am the knower of my ahankara. What is the ahankara? The agency, the individuality, the kartrutvam, the kartru that I am aware of this. So am I the ahankara? I am not the ahankara. Then who am I? I am the very knower of the entire jagat of kshetram, the matter principle, the object. At the same time, this entire body is nothing but kshetra. Therefore, I am not the body. I am not the sense organs. I am not the mind. I am not the intellect. I am the very knower of this entire body. Therefore, the body is also kshetram, like the entire jagat. I should now include this body mind sense complex in the jagat called kshetram. And who am I? One and the only kshetrajna, paramatma, paraprakriti. I am this. Unfortunately, this body kshetra, having been an instrument of me, of this, atma or whatever, for so many lives, I have forgotten that this is Kshetra. I am confused out of confusion and delusion. I consider it as me, myself, but I am not that. This is the crux of the teaching of Vedanta, which is starting here in the 13th chapter. And so, in the third verse, what does Krishna say? Tat kshetram yaccha yadrikcha. What is that kshetra? What is the nature of this kshetra? Yadrikcha. What is the nature of this kshetra? Yad vikari. What is the cause of this kshetra? That which has become the vikara of something and cause. Yatascha yat. What is the effect that this world is? This world is nothing but a kalana, a cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect. Correct? There is nothing is there in this Jagata matter principle which is by itself. It is the effect of something. It becomes the cause for something. The whole apara prakriti, the whole kshetram is what? A chain, never ending chain of cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect. What is this cause effect of the kshetra? Yad vikari yatascha yat. I will tell you that. What is this kshetra which is in the form of cause? What is this kshetra which is in the form of effects? I'll tell you that. What is this kshetram? I will tell you that. What is the nature of this kshetram? I will tell you that. At the same time, sachayo yat prabhavascha tat samasena me shruno. Not only about the kshetra, Arjuna, I will also tell you the nature and the glories of this knower of the kshetra or kshetrajna. And how? Samasena tachrunu. I'm going to tell you briefly what it is going to be. What is the nature of Kshetram? What is Kshetram? What is the meaning of cause and effect chain in the Kshetram? What is this Kshetrajna which is beyond the cause and effect? What is this Kshetrajna which is beyond the chain of cause and effect? What is this Kshetrajna which is something beyond or something other than this Kshetram, which in 15th chapter Bhagwan is going to call it as Uttama Purusha. What is this? What is the nature? What is the prabhavaha? What is the glory of this Kshetrajna? Samasena Tachruno. I am going to say it very, very clearly. So we'll go to the next verse, the fourth verse also, where this Kshetrajna knowledge is glorified by Bhagavan. He is making a stuti of this knowledge because this Kshetrajna Jnanam or Atmajnanam is the highest knowledge, the transformative knowledge, that knowledge beyond which there is nothing to know, there is nothing more to know. That is the ultimate knowledge which transforms me from a samsari to a mukta purusha. Okay, that is the highest, the most sacred, the ultimate which is to be known. Therefore, this knowledge is praised by Lord Krishna in the fourth verse. Why? To create an interest in Arjuna to understand this. You know, when we glorify something, what are we doing? We're creating an interest in the other person to know more about it. So, Krishna is glorifying this knowledge in the fourth verse. We have still 4 minutes to go, so we'll just take it, just introduce it. ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोर्भिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः. Arjuna, this knowledge is not something which I'm cooking up and talking to you. This is the knowledge of the scriptures. Rishibhihi bahuda, Rishibhir bahuda Geetam. This is the knowledge which was received by the rishis in the beginning of this creation and transferred paramparataya to their shishyas. Rishibhihi bahuda Geetam. This was what was given out as the knowledge received directly from Parameshwara by these rishis. Then Chandobhir Vividhaihi Pritak. Distinctly, the Kshetram and Kshetrajna have been described in the Vedas by Vedic mantras. All the Vedic mantras, Chandaha, Chandobhihi, the Vedic mantras are describing the Kshetram and Kshetrajna prithak. They differentiate very clearly Vedic mantras and describe the Kshetram very clearly, separately. They describe the Kshetrajna. That is the modality used in Drishya Viveka. That is the modality used in the Upanishads which talk about Panchakosha Viveka. That is the modality used by the Upanishads which talk about Avasthatraya Viveka. That is the modality used by the Upanishads which talk about this knowledge in the form of Karya Karana Viveka. Okay, so all the chandas, that is all the Vedic mantras, very clearly distinguish between Kshetra and Kshetrajna and talk about this knowledge. And not only that, Brahma Sutra Padaischaiva, Bhagavan Vyasa in his Brahma Sutras has logically explained all these which were explained by the Upanishads. The Upanishadic mantras, which talked about the Kshetram and the Kshetrajna, have been very clearly and logically explained by Bhagavan Vyasa in Brahma Sutra. What is Brahma Sutra? Those words, those vakyas which point to Brahman are called as Brahma Sutras. And this is what is the it is the extensive and the wonderful work of Bhagwan Vyasacharya, where hetumat bhihi vinishchitaihi, the teaching of the kshetrajna vibhaga by all the Vedas has been very clearly described by Bhagwan Vyasacharya in the Brahma Sutras using Hetumadbhihi, logically explained with yukti, logically explained using logic, using yukti, using anubhava. He has explained the whole thing. Another meaning of Brahma Sutra padaihi means what? All the words and the sentences of the Shruti Upanishads which indicate Brahman, Brahma Suchita, Brahma Suchana Vakyani, those who indicate those words and sentences which indicate Brahman, they all talk about this. Therefore, Arjuna, this is a knowledge which has to be got by a human being. This should be the ultimate thing that a human being should actually try for. It should be the ultimate goal of every human being. And this is the Shreyas Nishreyaha Purushartha, to know this. So, know this because it is something which is the most sacred knowledge. And now onwards, I'm going to tell you what is this Kshetra, and then I'm going to tell you what this Kshetrajna is. नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय